another episode of Trials and Tribulations to Success. We got KP here alongside myself,
Daniel Farmington,
and our special guest.
Okay, it's Kenny, a.k.a. the Mighty One.
Oof.
Mighty fine.
Mighty fine.
Everything
indeed.
mighty fine.
Oh, yeah.
Join the herd.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So, how you feeling today, Ken? I see you might be. Was that thing full when we started?
Buddha took half of it. But.
Okay.
Like you welcome to this episode, you know what I mean? This podcast is it's an uplifting podcast, you know what I mean? A lot of people's stories from trials and tribulations, you know, not everybody has the same story. Mm-hmm. You know, so we like to welcome you to this episode and, you know, hopefully you get some inspiration from hearing, you know, some of your positive words, you know, through your struggles to where you're at right now.
Let me answer this question, though. You asked, how was my day or how was I feeling?
Yeah.
I like that. Let me answer how I was feeling. Because
how you feeling?
no matter how bad of a day I'm having, I always have the greatest day.
As long as you're having that
it's
day.
a positive mindset.
Yeah.
I always tell people, you know what I mean? So it's like there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Somebody always has it worse.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like my mindset is always stay focused, stay positive. So no matter how bad of a day I'm having, I'm doing
And
good.
that's the point of the podcast, really. So that's dope, you know.
Absolutely.
Hopefully people out there are feeling down like there ain't no road to go, and then they hear a story and go, well, all right, well, shit. This guy can do it. Maybe I can.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Thank you for giving us your feelings.
For sure. Drink to that.
Thanks for having me. It's a beautiful day. The sun is out.
Yeah, I know, right? Heart's beating.
Snow is melting.
Yeah.
Man, this week was pretty hard with that weather, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what's so funny is that we were making analogies the whole week as the storm was coming. As you know, Ballistic was up here last week talking about the herd and how the herd run towards the storm. So I was just telling everybody, man, be quiet, stop crying, man.
Yeah.
It's a baby storm.
Yeah.
We're gonna run right through it. So.
Right. No doubt.
You know, it's funny that as soon as the storm was hitting there and getting all these pictures and everything, and that popped in my head, I'm just like, yeah, because you know I like to incline a lot of things with my culture and my heritage. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when Ballistic shared that story, you know, I mean, it's very unique. You know, I mean, not too many people, you know, get a depth of, you know, I mean, the way an animal, you know, I mean, reacts to its surroundings. You know what I mean? So that was a key point to me. You know, his story. You know, I mean, sticking out to me. I'm like, man, I remember when he said that. You know, run right into that. And here it was just a little one too.
Mm-hmm.
So, actually,
I know, right? Some people got hit pretty hard, but from what I saw, it was pretty cleaned up by the next day, and then it dropped again, I think, or something. But we did it.
Man, we here, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're sitting on the couch and it's snowy. Sometimes you just want to complain on the internet about how shitty the weather is, but you know it's gonna melt. You know,
summertime will be right around the corner.
Yeah.
That's it. Real Buffalo soldiers.
Yeah.
No doubt. The real ones.
The real ones.
Shouts out Balist, right?
Absolutely.
Look out for that video. So you'll get the message in a minute.
Okay. All right.
Stay tuned, you guys. Hear that?
Here, turn your mic a little bit for me so you can talk into the side of it, not the front. Nope, the side. Yeah.
Okay.
Boom. Perfect. Where'd you grow up, Ken? Tell us a little your backstory. Where'd you born here in Buffalo?
Patterson, New Jersey is my hood.
Okay.
You know, Fetty Wap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Somewhere around the corner from where he grew up at. So Patterson, New Jersey is my hood.
Okay.
Moved to Buffalo as a young adult, maybe about 12, I think.
Okay.
My mom was trying to escape being a victim of domestic violence.
All right.
Both my dad and my mom were victims of what we call the opioid epidemic here now. So, you know, and he used to go crazy on my mom a lot, you know, so she was like, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had my aunt here, and so we landed here in, I think, 1988, 89, if my memory serves me correct. So then Buffalo became, you know, my hood, my home.
Yeah.
So, you know.
What part of Buffalo did you move into when you guys moved here?
Specifically, the Upper West Side.
Okay.
18th Street around Lenova's. I became a Lenova's kid.
All right.
Making
Nice.
boxes and shit. So
Nice.
Oh, shit. All right. You worked at Lenova's making boxes. Good
fucking
shit.
Lenova's, man. I love. Shout out to Big Joe.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sindaro used to send me to the fucking store with envelopes full of money to pay the phone bill, the lights and everything for Lenova's, man.
One of the little messages for them, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Good people's. And I remember just collecting $1 from every driver because I used to fold boxes, so that's how we get paid.
Yeah. Shit.
$1 from every driver, and
That was good payback
free
then.
pizza and free video games. So.
There you go. Video games. I mean, Ken played
How
video
old were you
games.
when you were?
Just Street Fighter. That's all.
Never
I play.
seen
And
that
Ninja
coming.
Turtles. That's
Okay,
about
yeah,
it.
Ninja Turtles.
How old were you when you were working there?
13, 14, 15. Right
Okay.
around that age. Yeah, I was there for.
Now, as a kid, did you stack that money up, or were you just spending it? But, I mean, I understand you said a little bit about
I don't
your
remember stacking anything that young. I think it was just blowing it. Girls, food, friends. Smoked a lot of weed.
yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, everything mighty fine, just having fun, huh?
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah.
I really wasn't a stacker at that age. I was more of a just blow it all.
Did you fit in right away when you moved here at that age, or did you kind of have to find your place in the neighborhood?
I think I fit in pretty good. I was just a little distraught because I was like I left my family.
Shit was new.
I only had like a small amount of family members here, so I kind of like I was just a little distraught, but did pretty good. I went to school 45, made a lot of friends, and it was a smooth, I would say, transition as can be under the circumstances, though.
Yeah, gotcha.
And just in that, and at that time, the West Side was just kind of crazy. So I kind of like fell right into what was going on.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of
What is your heritage?
Puerto Rican.
So do you you feel like that helped? Because the West Side was just, at that point, full. It was basically full, all Puerto Ricans. Some kind of Latino, right?
Yeah,
Except for maybe the
It was a
old,
mix. It was a mix.
old Italian ladies that still would stick it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
So
think
the
that
Upper
maybe
West
helped?
Side was a mix of Hispanic, white, black.
Okay.
Primarily at that time, the Lower West Side was heavily congregated with Hispanic.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so
Right. Good shit. So were you good at school and shit? Or you start running around early?
I was always a good kid in school, man. I used to love school.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I got in a lot of trouble, I used to consider school almost like a fashion show. I used to like going to school being fly. And my teachers always said that I had great handwriting, that I write like a girl.
Yeah.
My cursive is amazing.
Good shit.
Pen game.
Yeah, so I used to love school. I always thought school was super important, even though I was somewhat of a rebellious kind of knucklehead. And at that time, I went to school. I forgot what. Well, after 45, I got in some trouble. Went to alternative. So at that time, there was a lot of kids from other neighborhoods that thought it was okay to try.
Right.
Other guys from the thought we were soft or something from the West Side or whatever.
I mean, it was mandatory. They had to try it. That was
Had to show up,
that was
right?
the thing that was happening, right?
It's okay. I was somewhat of a small bully myself.
It's called growth and development right there.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Either you win some, you lose some. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
That's it.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of trouble. What's that mean? Got you kicked out of school?
A little trouble. So I mentioned that both my parents were addicted to heroin. And so a lot of the time, we were just in the streets. My dad used to take me boosting with him so he can fucking like get a fix. So that lifestyle, just seeing that like on a day-to-day basis, kind of gave me almost a free pass to do the same. So I was out there just being fucking off, doing
Whatever.
Accommodate a lot of bad habits.
yeah. And then I found like my friends, my network, they were like kids that were going through the same situations and shit. Like their mom, my one best friend, his mom was like strung out on crack, but the best mom in the world, and just gave us like the liberty to do whatever the fuck we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then so there were consequences, obviously, to those behaviors. And then we're riding around, stealing cars, taking things that didn't belong to us from other people. And I caught a small kind of case, and then I went to juvie for some years, a couple of years. So
Wow.
got in trouble when I was like 15, on and off.
Yeah.
And then they was like, hey, you got to sit down for a little while.
Yeah.
At that age, what did you experience? Like, what were your thoughts? Did you think it was cool, so you continued, or was it enough to damn, I really don't want to do this, or at that point, do you recall?
Yeah. What motivated you to run around the streets doing shit?
I don't know. I mean, so coming from New Jersey was always like real hood, real the slums. So then coming to Buffalo, I guess we just continued that trend. I don't know if I thought, I guess thinking at that age being cool, just running around with a bunch of friends that same age, we're just doing
That's what
what
the
kids do kind of thing.
general
I really
vibe
thought
was.
that was the cool thing to do.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
to
it
be
was
out
at the
there,
time. It was
victimizing people, dumb shit like that. Like, what
Right.
the fuck are you doing? You know,
Right.
if I'm looking, I got a son now, and I'm looking. If he was doing some dumb shit like that, I'm
can't,
fucking you up. Like,
Right.
you know, that's not cool.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I guess that in that era, that time, and my parents, my friends, and things like that, they were all doing that. So for me, I didn't.
It was just natural second.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was just like, you know,
Right. Product of your environment.
I guess it was just cool to do it at that time.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, hindsight is 20/20. You look
Of
back,
course.
you're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Right.
Yeah, I used to, and I got a teardrop at 13. So I had a teardrop. A lot of people don't know that. They used to call me Teardrop Kenny. AKA
What the fuck is the
Teardrop
teardrop mean? Doesn't it mean something? Because
It
I'm
means you're a
ignorant.
fucking idiot. That's what
Yeah. All
it means.
right.
Yeah,
It didn't mean
it's-
anything. I didn't
Alright.
kill anybody.
Okay.
Didn't do fucking however many years in jail. You
Because
know.
that's what I thought.
All the
No, there's so many. There's so many stories
Stigmas,
and
yeah,
stigmas behind that. You know what I mean? And
I think I just lashed on the scariest.
I mean,
one. It's
honestly,
like,
my personal opinion, it's just like it's a funny. I got a funny story.
Yeah.
One of my brother's buddies, you know, what I mean, he was the only one that they all respected me growing up, and you know, what I mean, none of them ever really got a line. But this kid, he always, he always wanted to step over it. And I remember, you know, what I mean, I was a bad kid growing up, and so he came to me one day. He had a razor in his hand. He goes, "Hey, yo, Keith," he goes, "Can you cut my eyebrow? I want a slash on my eye, like, you know what I mean? I want a scar. I want a scar, and I want to look tough." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Yo, bro, you don't get a scar. You don't look tough because you know what I mean? That's it was one of those. I mean, we're talking about kids from the territory here. You know what I mean? So they don't really have no exposure to you know what I mean the hood. I guess you could say they're.
Right.
They're
Trying to figure it out.
their hood's different. So
Yeah, it's
for the ones that really venture out,
They got to cut themselves.
you know, but it was one of those funny things. You know, I was just like, bro, you don't do that, man.
That's actually how they removed my teardrop, where they just cut it. And you
Cut it out?
Yeah. When I went to juvie, they so I was in there.
Who's they? The adults hold you down and cut your fucking face?
So they sent me out. So I was in juvie, and they were like, "What are your plans for when you get out?" Right? Because I had just got my GED. As soon as I turned like 17, they were like, "What are your plans?" It's like, I don't know. I want to get out and do, be a counselor, fucking work with troubled kids like I was or something. And but I said, but there's one problem with that. I got this teardrop on my face that it's a stigma. It's negative. And they were like, well, maybe you should write your ombudsman, right? So I was like, what the fuck is an ombudsman? You know what an ombudsman is?
Nope.
Right.
Sounds like it'll get me high.
So the ombudsman is like they're like people who represent you, like if you're like a victim of staff assault or something like that. You know? So a group of like I don't know, say attorneys, people that represent you. And they were like, why don't you write a letter to your ombudsman and let them know the importance of why you feel that way, and maybe they'll pay for it. So I sat down, wrote a letter like, hey, these are all the like negative connotations that this has. I really want to change my life, do something different. A few weeks later, they were like, yo, proved, you're good. We're going to send you off grounds. They sent me to some doctor, I don't know, and then fucking laid me down, injected it, cut it out, and I was good.
All right, so it was official cutting out. All right, I
Cut
was
it
like,
out,
what the fuck
literally.
is to
Like,
hold you
I
down
was
and
like,
cut it
damn,
out?
That was like 2-minute process,
Yeah.
but a procedure, but yeah, so and then Teardrop Kenny went away.
Yeah. That's why you were still in prison. Right?
Now, when you
No,
say
this was juvie. I was
juvie,
I didn't make
yes,
it to
yes.
prison yet.
Okay,
That's
we're
another
getting
story. Yeah.
Forgot.
That was like the.
How old were you then when you requested that? Real quick.
I went from 16 to 18.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
somewhere.
when they took it off, I was 17.
All right.
About 6 months before I was released.
All right. Shit. I think that's important. The age. you chose.
absolutely,
Yeah, and then from there, I didn't want to go back to Buffalo. I was like, let me try something different. Because right before I went in, one of my friends killed some pretty big name person in Buffalo, and I was like, I don't want to go back. So I went to Rochester and studied criminal justice. Right after they removed the teardrop, I was like, let me try something different. Went to Rochester, went to college for a little bit, and then I fell like 3 credits short of my degree. where I had 2 kids in Rochester, and then they moved back to Buffalo. That's where their mom was from, and I was like, oh, let me go back to Buffalo.
Of course.
So you've been pretty much all over Western New York, from here to Rochester, back and forth, huh?
Just Rochester and Buff.
Okay.
Yeah, just Rochester for some years, from 18 to like 22. So, no, yeah, 17, something like that. 90. Shit, I gotta think back now. See, I'm dating myself, man. 96 to 2001 in Rochester.
Oh shit. Okay.
So
What is your biggest asset to help you develop, and adapt to the situations that you have put yourself in?
Repeat that one more time.
What is the biggest, your biggest asset and what your biggest accomplishment to be able to, put yourself in those situations and be able to accommodate and pull through in all those,
What was your biggest?
Now or at that time? At
Oh,
that
yeah.
time or now? Or things that have carried me through those times? I don't know. I've always been witty, been smart. You mentioned school. I think just being educated a little bit more than my peers. It kind of gave me the edge, the advantage. I like the word resiliency. So throughout my life, there was no choice but to be resilient. Seeing my mom going through the shit that she went through with my dad, cutting her face, doing all kind of crazy shit, and making it through that, taking us out. So for me, it was just having those qualities, I guess, that maybe I was born with. Some of the product of your environment, being kind of just having to survive type of thing, getting me through situations. And now as an adult, knowing that nobody starts at the top, you got to go through some trials and tribulations, and overcome certain obstacles to really appreciate life and things. One thing that I am now that I probably was never before I lost my freedom was appreciative and grateful. So losing the freedom allowed me oh shit, this shit can really end in a second, which happened, and I was like, wow. And then just having that second chance, so when I got that second chance, I was like, I gotta do something different. Not going back to the streets. I'm not gonna be, fake ass tough guy.
So you're talking about older now. You had another relapse of incarceration. What it sounded like?
Wait, hold on.
So
You moved back to Buffalo.
So when I moved back to Buffalo,
Yeah.
moved back to Buffalo, I was like, fuck. I went to college for some years. I thought the schooling might have helped me get a good job. So when I came back, I was looking for jobs, fucking doing telemarketing, selling magazines to people on the phone, shit like that. Then I was just like, this shit ain't really cutting it. Then I got together with a bunch of old friends again, right? And then they're doing all kind of shit. They're in the game. They're taking things that didn't belong to them from other people, stuff like that. And so 21, we were playing in the game. And then we're making large purchases from some individuals that thought that they could take advantage of us for some reason. After a couple different times, we negotiated or made some deals. And we went back. So when we found out we were taken advantage of, obviously we're like, hey, we're not happy with this.
We're not those guys.
We'll go back and ask these guys kindly, can we get our money back or something? And so that didn't go as planned. And then, as you mentioned, and at the age of 20, I was about to be 23, I ended up, being incarcerated or catching a charge that led to me being sentenced to a determinate sentence of 8 years, followed by a small period of post-release supervision.
What did they say you did? If you don't mind sharing, of course. I'm assuming it's all said and done.
Took something that didn't belong to us.
All right.
So what we called at that time a home invasion.
Yeah, okay. So you came to get your money back.
Yeah, so we went to someone's house and said,
Yeah.
hello, it's us, remember? Hey,
Yeah.
can we kindly just, oh, we don't know what's going on, all right. And then things just got out of hand. Someone was shot, things like that. And
Okay. All right.
Luckily, nobody died. If not, I wouldn't have been here. So,
Yeah, no doubt.
And then, so at that time, it was a lot of that shit going on. So it was a drug-related crime.
Yeah.
You know.
Gotcha.
So the cops obviously know that, but that doesn't mean that because someone is doing something illegally means that it's okay for you to take something that is illegal.
Right. Yeah.
You can't rob somebody that sells cocaine because it's illegal.
Right.
It's still a robbery.
No matter which way you want to look at it.
Yeah. So, you know, and then they set my ass down for quite some time. So 8 years was the sentence, just short of 7. And so I lost the ages from 23 to 31.
Now, did you lose them, or did you hit the book some more? And
Yeah, what did you do?
Yeah, so I didn't lose them. I mean, I lost them like out in the real world. I think that was the best thing that probably ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And I tell people that prison saved my life, because if not, I was going to continue to do what I was doing.
Yeah.
So they say if you do what you what's the saying? Continue to do what you always done, you're gonna get what you always got, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I knew that even though I was so like fucking distraught, because I was, you know, I never had spent more than, you know, well, aside from juvie, I was so used to my freedom that when they turned it off like this, I was like, fuck, I was crushed. And then I started to look at the bright side. While I was in there, I was like seeing guys that kind of did the same thing. They're going for 15, 17, 20. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. My negotiation started at a decade 10. And then I got a lawyer. It's like, we can knock it down too. And I'm like, that's it? And I gave you, I don't know, I think $5,000 my family came up with, and we gave them, you know, and they was able to knock down 2. And then I just had to look at the bright side. So to answer your question, it did save my life. So I did hit the books.
Yeah.
I remember taking some advice from people at the local holding center, like, you know, that been to prison before, because I'd never been to prison. They're like, yo, stay away from 3 things, you'll be fine. And then I was like, what's that? They were like, the 3 G's, gays, gangs, and gambling, and you'll be fine. So you look like a good dude. You be yourself. Don't be part of no cliques and shit like that. I was like, yeah, cool. That's what I do anyway. So
It worked out then, huh?
yeah. So, you know, once day 1 started of the journey, I was like, man, it was hard to really look at the end, like see that, knowing that you got that. Right? I'm on the phone with my mom. I remember at Elmira reception, she was like, and I would call her after I spoke to my counselor to give you your fucking your sheet with your outdate. And it just seemed so fucking far into the future. Shit. Yeah, the time computation. And I was like, Ma, I'm not going to be out till 2009. She was like, oh, my God, Nana, that's so many. I was like, man, I started tearing. Tried to be like, Ma, it's all right. We're going to be good. We're going to be all right. And that shit, you just got to hold it down. Because when in Elmira, I was there with people that got 50 to life, all kind of shit. Like dudes were younger than me, and I'm like, oh shit, my situation isn't that bad.
Yeah. How well was your mother doing when that happened? Were you taking care of the bills and shit at all, or
she was actually just trying to gain her sobriety.
Okay.
So I think me going to prison actually was a good thing, because she was able to like hold my kids down. So I got, you know.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, I got 2. You know, at that time my boy was
Shouts out to Ken's
3
mom.
and 2, and then so she held me down, and you know, she got her stuff together, and you know, that's when I was like, okay, cool, and
fucking
it was dope. Yeah.
It's dope.
Just a little recap. You brought up Elmira. What do you remember your first time going through there? You're looking at that big old football field, the length cells, 4 tiers on both sides. What do you remember, if you recall?
Know about this place?
Yeah, I do know about this place.
Shit.
It's
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's why he's next on this podcast.
We're gonna have to get into the story.
I mean,
it reminded me of a. Oh, go ahead. You were gonna say
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it reminded me. I'm a big fan of American Me, the movie.
Okay.
You watched American Me?
Yeah.
So when I walked in there, it's like you look up and like he said, it's fucking 4 tiers high, long. People are screaming, yelling, fuck you, and it's just crazy. And everybody who's like new is just walking down that line, and then you got people just screaming at you like, fuck you, I'm gonna fucking kill you if I, you know, just dumb shit, just trying to just scare you and shit. People throwing shit. The first time I seen people fishing.
Yeah, I heard about this fishing.
The fishing shit.
There's some nice fishermen.
Nice
I mean,
fishermen.
from the outside looking in, it sounds pretty fun. At night, we're just fishing. Like, oh, what are we gonna get today?
I mean, it's crazy. They say people that do time in solitary have a higher IQ than the average book smart person because the intelligence of how to figure things out, you know what I mean, to communicate, to pass, you know what I mean, different things. It's very, it's interesting, you know what I mean. They say you put a book smart person in there, you know what I mean, they can be able to figure out how to, you know, get a light or whatever, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It's
testing.
It was crazy, man. Just seeing fucking big ass garbage pails, garbage cans on a roller, and that's how people took baths. So they would fill this fucking thing up, and then they would just bring it down these tiers, like your cells and shit. And people fucking, I need water. Like, throw water in your. They used that so you could put water in your bucket, and that's how you would wash up because
So you're saying
it was only showers like fucking twice a week or something stupid like that.
Wow.
Other
So-
than that, you had to wash up in yourself.
Yeah.
so basically it's like a farmer going around and feeding their cattle.
Yeah, I mean,
That's sad, man. That's
Yeah, so it was just disgusting, man, and I was like kicking myself in the ass so much. Like, what the fuck? I was going to college. I had a chance to be fucking a sheriff's deputy, whatever. Because when I was going to college, one of my professors was a lieutenant or a captain at the jail in Rochester, and he was just like, Cologne. He used to call me Cologne, man. Fucking take the test. I'm like, fucked off. So and then I'm like, fast forward a few years after that, I'm fucking in Elmira. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
kids now and shit.
3 credits short of a degree, and I'm like, fuck did I do? So, and then so I just was like, you know what? It's just you gotta poke your chest out and just man up and
You
just,
just gotta.
you gotta hold it down. And I just said that, you know, I'm gonna make this the best experience of my life, even though it was one of the worst. So it's like a blessing and the curse at the same time.
Oh yeah, of course.
so you utilized all the programs they had there and stuff, or did you
A
do a
little
lot
bit.
of self?
I started out as I was in Elmira. I was like an interpreter because I was one of the guys who had a fucking diploma. So they was like, "Oh, you got a diploma? Come on, you're gonna be a fucking porter and you're gonna interpret for us." So everybody who was new to the jail at that time that didn't speak English, I'd be translating. Oh, you're not getting out for another 25 years in Spanish, and, shit like that. And then, shortly after, I went to my destination, landed in Riverview for a little bit, did some bullshit like floor covering. Yeah, floor covering, I think it was. It's like, fuck, I'm not a labor guy, whatever, but I was like, all right, let me try it. And then I transferred to Livingston, where I spent 5.5 years. And then did floor covering there for a little bit. And then some election came up, right? The fucking election for the Inmate Grievance Resolution Committee, the IGRC. You know about the IGRC? So what this was is like the fucking inmate complaint office. Right? You complain about your fucking cheesecake not being, your coffee cake. We didn't have cheesecake.
So it's the union?
Remind me about the Mighty Fine cheesecakes in a minute. But so I worked for an office that handled complaints, inmate complaints. And so the jail, we had about 800-900 people there. And so every complaint that a person had would obviously write it down, a grievance, and then submit it to this office. And so my job was to informally resolve the complaint before it actually became an issue, before it went through superintendent to Albany, things of that nature. So
Clean up the list of complaints.
clean up. So at that was a real tricky job because a lot of inmates, if you worked for grievance, they were like, fuck, you work with the administration.
How come my complaint's not getting seen?
So I had to go through an election. It's funny. So we're talking about like the election where you go and vote and shit like that. Out here, we're like, go vote. Make sure your vote counts. Your vote really does count. Yeah. So in there, they have a vote. The inmates vote for who the fuck they want to represent them. So there were two,
as they should,
2 clerks and then a chairperson. And then so initially, I ran. I remember the exact number of votes that I got, 360.
Yeah, all right.
So I was at the jail for a while. Yeah, I was, I was cool with the jail. Respected people. They respected me.
The poster boards vote for Ken.
So I was out there fucking campaigning.
Were you really? I don't doubt it, man.
that full circle completion.
Fucking vote for Ken Cologne. And then, my name was Mighty in there, and then that's where the name Mighty came from. And then I won the election. And
nice.
then a couple years after that, is promoted to the chairperson. So the chairperson is like the like a judge in a courtroom, like the neutral party. You just listen to the complaints, and then you kind of like, oh yeah, you got a valid fucking complaint. No, whatever. We'll send it up to Albany, shit like that. But it allowed me to really travel throughout the jail, which was good. So
Did you learn a lot about like the law, at that point, because what you had to do?
not really. I wasn't in the law library like a lot of people were, because it was like I wasn't appealing my case. I did go to school for criminal justice, but I knew like that was out the fucking window. Like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm getting a criminal justice degree and I'm in prison. But I didn't study that. I read a lot of self-help books. At first it was like before I got to prison, like locally you read the hood novels and all that shit. And I'm like, fuck that. And then I just started reading self-help books and I was just addicted to them. And then that's where I was able to kind of like develop the power of positive thinking.
Yeah.
You are what you think, you attract.
Do you have a book specific you remember worth suggesting to the world?
I got a few. I got one it was in my office the other day. It's called The Prosperity Bible, and it's not religious. It's like writings composed of all the greatest, like wealthiest, most successful people in the world, historically. And all of the book, the entire book is based on what you think, what you project out, is what you attract. So that's why I'm like a fucking negative Nancy, Debbie Downers. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
You got an excuse for this? I don't want to get fucked. I don't.
Right. No, I hear you.
The day after my mom passed, I'm like, "How you doing?" I'm doing great. They're like, "Oh fuck, how can you be so positive?" Because
I noticed
that's what
when
what you
when you said you're on the phone with your mother and you were just like, "We got this, Ma," as I'm sure you were walking into that place thinking, like you said, not even seeing an end to it.
So the power of positive things. It's called the Prosperity Bible, and then I read a lot of others. Napoleon Hill's, a fucking million books. I don't know.
There's one that's out there. It's for the people that are just now wanting to find themselves and whatnot. I remember coming across one. There's a real good one to open my thought process to what Kenny's talking about. Yeah. It's called The Secret.
Oh, The Secret. Yeah,
and it's a basic one for a person that's just learning how to open up those key points of themselves. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it tells you that your telepathic. What you are is what you attract. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's a real good book for the ones that that's just wanting to get engaged into something like this. You know what I mean? That's a good starter book. You know what I mean?
I've been putting that book off probably my whole life because I keep hearing it.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction. Woo! Robert Greene, powerful. So The Art of Seduction is deep. How you can become an object of like seduction in different scenarios. It's dope. It's crazy. So yeah, I always made sure that my head stood in the books.
Nice.
For a long period of time. I used to see people gambling. A lot of my boys gambled. I used to just stand. I still don't know how to play poker. Only thing I know how to play is 21. Yeah, I'd stand on the side and just spectate. I'd stand right there and just fucking watch people lose their lockers and call their girls.
Yeah.
Please, I need you to send this guy something before something happens to me. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. So I just read most of the time and worked out. You know, and just kind of just was like, I always in my office. When I say my office, the office that I worked at, it was the person who ran it was a civilian. Older white Republican guy who became my biggest mentor. Right. And he always used to tell me, listen, man, you gotta get ready for when you get out. And so I just knew that every day was super important. We used to talk politics. He used to bring me, so that what kept me really relevant was that he used to bring in the Buffalo newspaper every day. And I used to read that fucking paper. He used to give it to me because that was like a privilege. You couldn't really get a newspaper unless you went to like the library and fucking stood in line for a Buffalo newspaper. And he gave me the paper every day. And I would read that shit front to back. So I always tell people, they were like, yo, how'd you get out? And we're like, you just like ran off to the races. I was like, because I kind of stood with the times, kind of relevant. So I would knew what was going on with politics and what was going on in the world. I saw dudes who were like institutionalized and like stuck in a certain like time zone. It's like fuck that, I can't be me.
Do that, yeah. Is there any brain activities that you engaged in while you were there? Sudokus, word cross, or you just really just read?
Just read and worked out, man. Did a lot of running, a lot of jogging. They say, running and jogging released the endorphins and made you feel good. So anytime that I was like fucking depressed, I was like Forrest Gump. Just fucking start running.
Get at it.
I know Riverview, that's way up there in the cold.
Riverview, yeah. And then I was just there for a short time. Then when I made it to Livingston, I was like, all right, I'm close to home. Let me chill. I had my fucking, at that time, girl that I was with fucking bringing me the mother load. And I'm like, let me fucking just chill out because I'm not trying to extend my time. That can happen. So I did, I sat my ass down. I said, you know what, I'm going to just chill. Just worked out and did a lot of, just self, working on myself mentally, physically.
Well, it's really good to see that you're here right here now having this conversation because, like you said, it's not guaranteed that a person makes it home, especially when a person goes in there with, these people that may never come home, these adolescents that are trying to get a name from them, you know what I mean? It's not guaranteed that a person go up there on 1 1/3 to 4 or whatever and make a home. They might extend it. God willing.
You've seen it. I've seen it many times.
It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. You know what I mean?
Well, we talked about how your peers might have been the reason how you ended up there, the people you're surrounded with, and then when you get there, you're just surrounded by nothing but it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I got to take full responsibility.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. But
can
to come out on top and not fall into that like gambling.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, I could have did all that shit. I could have did that. But I said, I gotta switch it. I gotta switch it up. I gotta do something different. And that's where the education piece for me became big. And so maybe about less than a year before I got out, Dave, his name is Dave, who I worked for in grievance, he was like, you should really think about getting your degree before you get out. So I'm like, how the fuck do I get a degree if I'm in prison? They don't have any school here.
Well, have you heard of the internet, sir? They issue one of those.
No, I think the internet was still fairly new. But anyway, he was saying you should look into it, and I'm like, how? And because all I needed was 3 credits, meaning an internship to graduate. So he was like, well, you went to school in Rochester, it's not too far down. Let me make a call to the fucking school. He made a call to the school. It's like, hey, I got this kid. He's 3 credits short of his degree. All it is an internship. However, he's incarcerated, and he works at this office. Is there any way we can use this experience, his job here, as an internship?
No.
I said, let me think about it. Let me talk to the head of the criminal justice department, whatever. They called back, and they were like, yeah, we're going to develop a 14-week curriculum for this kid. We're going to send it to him. He's going to do weekly assignments, and you, Dave, his name, you're going to be the proctor, meaning you're going to send it back to the school, and they're going to grade it and give me a grade. And then I did that for 14 weeks, and then about 6-7 months right before I got out, I got a degree. And so I shout out to my boy Zeb Johnson, man, native guy too. He's from his tribe is from Cali, but he was in jail with me. And he was a young kid, I think around 20-something at that time. He needed to get his GED because he had a lot of money in escrow from the casino revenue from the nation. And when he got out, he stayed in touch. And I never wanted to ask nobody for shit. I used to fucking like hustle greeting cards in there. I baked mighty fine cheesecakes for, to stay afloat. But I was like, yo, I'm trying to get my degree. Because he was like, yo, when I get out, just let me know what you need, anything. I got you. I was like, So I was like, yo, I got this opportunity to get this degree, but the fucking course costs $475, almost $500. He was like, not a problem. He sends me $1,500.
Yeah.
That's a blessing. I fucking paid, that's how I paid for the course.
Yeah.
And, I got right after that, that was 2009, May. I got the degree, and then I was released in September of 2009. So, that's where the Mighty name came from, in case anybody's wondering. Mighty Fine. So.
Before you got released, did you have any plans?
I don't know if there was a specific plan other than to be an entrepreneur of some sort. because I went, you know, my whole life, obviously, I sold something, whether drugs, I sold shit. I worked in retail as a fucking young kid or a teenager, so I knew I had to go into business of some sort. And so I don't know if I had a specific plan, but I started baking the Mighty Fine cheesecake. So in there, have you ever had a cheesecake in
Yeah.
So I used to bake them from scratch.
Bake, no bake.
No bake. So I used to crush cookies, fucking pound of butter, and then get a can of condensed milk, something, whatever, and then, you know, figured it out. You know what I mean? So,
He said, you know,
So,
figured it
no,
out.
put the
Some
shit
of
on
these guys
ice.
are crazy. Yo, some of
believe
this,
it. I
I ain't
know.
gonna lie. I've tasted some
I mean, as
cheesecake
a
that's
man
way
that's
better than
never
out here, bro. I'm not
had
lying.
the privilege.
Yes, I'm not lying, bro.
As a man that's never had the privilege, I think, to taste the
I'm
prison
gonna bake you
cheesecake.
guys one. I should have brought you
Yes.
one today. My family's still like, when the fuck? 13 years later, you're out and you still haven't baked a cheesecake. But I baked one in 13 years. But so I started doing that shit in there, and then I would do it. It got so popular for Thanksgiving. Like right now, I probably had like fucking 15 cheesecakes lined up to go through the whole jail. So
Yo,
my
he's not
job,
lying, bro. That's a hustle, bro.
my
I mean,
job, the grievance job allowed me to travel to different dorms in the jail, so I could go to B dorm, A dorm, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd be fucking, you know, smuggling cheesecakes here and there.
Got your own keys and shit. Let yourself
Really, I would
in
just
and
have
out
to
of the
let
cell.
I just have to let the officer know, hey, listen,
Yeah.
I got a grievance here. I'm going to. Your name's on it. I'm gonna go talk to this guy. Don't worry, I got it. And they're like, fuck, Cologne, go ahead. And I come back.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry, he's not gonna do anything, you know, because sometimes the COs in there, they don't want to be
against me?
grieved. Yeah, is it against me? Is it? Nah, yeah, actually it is. You fucking. But don't worry, I got it. All right, go ahead. Just tell me what happens when you come back. You know,
Yeah.
I had special privileges, so. So I was baking Mighty Fine cheesecakes for stamps and cigarettes. Uh-oh, he dropped it. And so, you know, that's so Mighty was the name that I forgot who gave it to me because I was part of a powerlifting team and shit. Like, you know, one of the little short diesel niggas that fucking used to work out and powerlift and shit like that. You know, so the name Mighty was born, and then it just continued. Everybody, yo, Mighty, and then so, you know, when I got out, I was able to just like, oh, what the fuck, you know, I saw an opportunity with the business and just like, Mighty Fine. I'm suing Target right now because they got fucking Mighty Fine shirts in their fucking stores. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I should have fucking a couple years ago.
Just
So that's
started
took
that's
Alyssa's
your,
advice
that's
and
your
fucking-
clothing company now, Mighty Fine, or what is?
No,
what
Mighty
is-
Fine. I just happen to be the proud owner of two businesses. It's a couple, but Mighty Fine Cuts, which was the first business. Barbershop.
How
Correct. Yeah.
soon did that happen after you got out? Like right away?
About 18
Did you,
months actually.
yeah, okay.
So
Did
18
you have a
months.
lot of support, or did you find you were on your own, but had a little, you know, obviously had the skills?
So I went to work first. When I got out, I was like, I got to take my ass to work.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I have a degree, let me use that as a little bit of leverage
Mm-hmm.
to offset the felony conviction. So a lot of people were like, man, I can't get a job. I got a felony, this, and that. And I'm like, okay. I don't give a fuck what you got, but I know I got a violent crime, but I got a degree.
Yeah.
And then when I started dressing the part, putting on a fucking suit and going on interviews, people started taking me seriously.
Yeah.
You know, they used to fucking judge me and be like, no, not judge me, but like,
I'm sure they
when I used to go on interviews, people used to think, because my resume said New York State Department of Corrections, they thought that I was like a CO or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my resume, my experience, when I used to give you my resume, like, hey, I'm applying for this job, and it says New York State Department of Corrections, and I'm in a suit. They're like, oh, so you worked at the Department of Corrections? I was like, unfortunately, I was a resident at this facility, but these are my skills. This is what I had, and so I used that to market myself. Mm-hmm. And then I got a job right around the corner from where my barbershop is. Just celebrated 11 years of having a barbershop.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
Great.
And so I just saw a storefront, and I used to, you know, when I got out, I was just like selling shit out of my truck to all the barbershops. I would like go to the outlets and buy the fucking clearance section out.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then so I would run around the whole city to everybody's barbershop and sell shit. One day I'm getting out of work and I see this storefront on Niagara, and I'm like, it says for rent. I'm like, damn, I wish I can get that. Just called the number by accident, like not by accident, but on purpose. And they gave me a quick. They were like, hey, yeah, it's available.
Popeyes.
They was like, hey, okay. I said, hey, it's available. And then I was like, man, this would be a cool idea for a barbershop. And so what my goal was is like, what business can I have or can I build that doesn't require me leaving my full-time job?
Yeah.
And so that was my goal. It's like, well, if I can just make a barbershop, put 5 chairs in it, designate a manager,
Yeah.
I don't have to really be there. The business will run itself.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle helped me with some shelving and shit like that. I found out how to, like, what licenses I needed, and
Yeah.
Mighty Fine Cuts was born.
Oh yeah.
so
Yo,
it's
what
pretty
year
dope.
was that too?
That was 2011. Well,
okay.
12 actually. Yeah, no, 11. I started the barbershop in 2011.
That's good because I mean, since then I don't know when it started, but since then they definitely fixed up that whole block right there.
God, everybody thought I was crazy. You're getting it. That's why I don't take advice from nobody who fucking never done anything before in their life.
Yeah.
Don't fucking give me advice if you haven't done shit with your fucking life. Okay, number one, no disrespect. But,
Yeah.
yo, you should do this. Yo, there's a million barbershops like this, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna do it my own way.
You know this famous saying I like to tell myself.
Yeah.
The sweetest fruit is at the tip of the branch that nobody wants to reach for.
This guy has so many fucking quotables. That last one with the mountain of lies and the truth, and I'm still trying to figure that one
We
out.
made him repeat it. Like you gotta say that one over again.
Oh, you want me to say it again? No. Yeah, I'm good. No, but like I says, you know what I mean? It's,
Yeah. So then, so everybody thought I was crazy at that time because the housing projects was right across the street, and there was a lot of shit going on, and I was just like, they were like, "Yo, that's not your hood," and I'm like, I respect everybody, you know? And I keep my word. So I feel like if you got your word and respect, then you get love anywhere the fuck you go. So that's how I operated, and that was good.
It worked.
And then a few years after that, then Mighty Fine Fashions became available on the same block, you know. So a lot of people at that time was like, clothing, there's a million Arab stores up the block. They sell it. I'm like, dude, you should do this. You should. Everybody's
Of
giving me
course.
ideas that never fucking did anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, you know. Yeah. So, you know,
Oh yeah.
here we are, you know.
What was your biggest drive in that? Besides, you know what I mean? Besides Mighty Fine and just what was not wanting to work and
What is
I mean,
the
you could
biggest?
Well,
drive?
let me back up because I've maintained a full-time job up until like 3 weeks ago through this whole shit. So when people tell
Wait,
me
up
that
until
they're-
3 weeks ago from today?
yeah,
Oh.
maybe about a month ago. You know.
Okay.
Ballistic Man convinced me to fucking quit my job and fucking
So
yeah.
is he a workaholic or is just
yeah.
He quit his job. I'm not. I did monkey see, monkey do type of thing, but no. I was already fucking fed up. So I had a full-time job up until about a month ago. I was a director of an education and workforce program. A lot of people were like, "What the fuck is that?" So I'm like a principal. I was a principal to an alternative high school. So I worked with kids that thought high school wasn't for them and were pursuing a GED.
Yeah.
So I worked for a beautiful organization called the Buffalo Urban League for the last 11 years.
I actually attended that.
Is that where you guys met?
Yeah. Ballistic was actually a client, but he wasn't a client of mine. I guess he was there right before I got out.
Is that how you? How did you guys meet? How long have you known Ballistic, man?
Almost 3 years now, I think. It was so serendipitous.
Okay.
Is that a word? Yeah.
It is.
No.
It is now. Mighty just said it.
Yeah, it just all. That's why everything happens for a reason. Yeah, it's about 3 years. It all happened around the time the Conflicted movie was coming out, and we filmed some shots at my store. I was privileged and honored to be in the movie as Benny the Butcher's plug.
Yeah, there you go.
Ballis at that time had wrote a song called "Conflicted" for the movie, and then shortly after that, he came to my store and was working on his album. I think the Guilty album, if I'm not mistaken. He's like, "Yo, I got this big ass billboard right up the street on Niagara," and he was already working with Cito. He had actually came to my store before that with David Corey and shit when they were doing the video. I gave David Corey outfit. I should have gave it to Ballis, but. Shout out to David Corey, man, he's a good guy. But at that time, you know, then that's how I met Ballis, and then you know I just saw his work ethic from then, and then he was like, yo, I'm doing this movie. He's got this documentary movie a lot of people don't really know about called Dirty Dishes, and he was like, yo, I want you to play my uncle in this movie and shit. So I'm like, all right, and then so we got together and kind of did that shit. And then after that, just fucking things started spiraling out of control. We had to work hard for this with Benny, and I happened to have a relationship with Benny already to an extent, and then everything just fucking. But the one thing that really attracted me, let me just make a point about that, is that the work ethic, right? So for me, I'm constantly grinding all the time, right? And so I saw that in him, right? Because if not, I would have been like, I'm gonna keep it pushing. But I see myself in him. I'm a little older than him. I think I still work a little harder than him, but no, he's a fucking workaholic. But that's one of the things that was like, yo, I gotta fuck with this kid because you know what I mean. Like he's relentless in everything that he does all the time. So, and that's the person that I am, and to the point that I got to in my life. I work every fucking day on a Sunday. I don't give a fuck what day it is. The other day when it was 8 feet of snow, I'm still out there. I'm like, I'm going to my store. I'm cleaning up, and it's like, and I still made a couple dollars, even though it wasn't what I wanted to. But it's so there's no fucking excuses. So this kid's work ethic is like through the fucking roof, and it's my guy. So I fuck with him.
You have to grind hard in life, especially the 2022 that we're in now. You know what I mean? If you don't go hard, you're not gonna go nowhere.
And one thing I've realized is that, and I tell people a lot that ask for handouts. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Kenny, can I hold this? Can I borrow this?" And I almost immediately like lose it, but I try to like maintain my composure. Like, nobody starts at the top. Do you fucking think that through my journey, when I got out, whatever, fucking things just fell into my lap? I had to fucking get up. I had to go to work. This, and that. And so I mentioned having a full-time job while having two businesses. Yeah. It's a lot of work, but I loved it. It was not work for me. So if you love the job you have, you never work another day in your life, right? So that's how, things happen, because it was just a passion for me. I loved it. I loved going to work. I love helping people. My biggest accomplishment was fucking graduating 72 kids from my hood. Yeah. My friends' sons and nephews and shit.
I appreciate that. I got children in the world, so I appreciate it.
And today I saw one of my students, they call me Mr. Ken. Hey, Mr. Ken. Oh, Mr. Ken. You know what I mean? So it's so fucking dope that, and so through all that, so when people have fucking excuses about why they couldn't do this and I'm late, and I don't want to hear anything. Yeah. I hear that. You just want to fucking fuck off, then you fuck off. But don't, I don't give handouts. I always say I give a hand up. Oh. I'll give you a hand up. It'll help you. That's it. I'm not going to give you a handout. Yeah. What are you going to do? Right. You want to do these windows? So I give a lot of motive, real quick before your next question, because I give a lot of, I was blessed to go back to the jail that I was incarcerated at Livingston, speak to 300. It was like 279 people. I walked in that gym and it was packed from wall to wall. And I always tell people, you want to be your own boss? Everybody wants to be a boss, right? So I'm like, you want to be a boss? And like, yeah. Who wants to be a boss in the room? Everybody, everybody wants to be a boss. So when you get out, so I'm giving advice to guys who, when they get out, if the job isn't working, what they can do to start like their own business. You want to start your own business? You want to be a boss? They're like, yeah. I'm going to give you an idea. You're going to make $320 a day. They're like, I'm all in. And you're going to start your business for under $10 real quick. 30 seconds, I tell them. You sure? Yeah, anything. So I pull out my phone and I do like this. So I tell them, I got a business. You're going to get 3 items for under $10. You're going to get a squeegee, a spray bottle, and a rag. These 3 items right here. Boom. You're going to start your own business with this. It's going to cost only $10. I'm going to be your first client. What do you mean? So I got Mighty Fine Cuts and Mighty Fine Fashions. Mighty Fine Cuts has 5 big windows. You're going to get your squeegee, spray bottle, and a rag. You're going to come to Mighty Fine Cuts, and it should take you about 15 minutes to do my windows. So I'm going to give you, let's say, $10 in 15 minutes. Then you're going to go to Mighty Fine Fashions. That's another $10 in 30 minutes. So we call it the power of optimization. You keep that trend up. That's $40 in 1 hour. You treat that like a normal job. Times 8. Yeah. That's $320 a day. Then That's one day. So I'm like, how hard do you want to go? You want to work
that's
5 days a week or 6 days a week, right?
Every day you want to turn on.
So I'm like,
that
if
320.
I'm just getting out, I want to go extra hard. I'll go 6 days a week, and I'll take Sunday off. $320 a day. Oh, so after you're done with Mighty Fine Fashions and Mighty Fine Cuts, you're gonna go to my boy's cell phone store up the block, the cleaners, and tell them that Kenny sent you, and you're gonna be valid, right? So 320 times 6. In 1 week, you got $1,900 and 1920. 1,920.
That's a beautiful paycheck, man.
You times that by 52. That's 99,000.
You still have that guy? Or did he ever show up?
No. I give that as a motivational speak, right? And
I'll
everybody's
see
like,
you on
I
Monday.
swear to God.
Is my
Yeah,
plan.
no. They say that. There's been one guy in about 10 years that I've been like publicly speaking almost and shit, because my job kind of fucking got me into that shit. That showed up and was like, yo, you remember me? Because a lot of, like the last couple of years been like via Zoom. So monthly I was given they got this program at the Holden Center. It's called Project Blue. So once a month they invite me, yo, can you give your story to these guys? And I always end with like, who wants to be your, because I'm like, you're at the Holding Center, right? Yeah. So listen, I'm only like 3 blocks away. So when you get out, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Pull up. And you got my word. I swear to God, I'll be there. And then nobody shows up.
Yeah.
It's like, were you really trying to be hustler? So when people say they can't make it, they can't do it, I'm just like, dude, you just go back
the way
to
you
drum
just
tip.
broke it down was like, damn, that seems so simple.
It is.
Like
I've mastered it myself. This is look.
Bro, he's
I've
not-
gotten to the point where this is the squeegee. You sometimes you'll catch me in front of Mighty Fine, and I'll be like this.
Do you do pictures?
And I do like this. And
do
I-
pictures.
At the bottom?
Yeah, the bottom, and a lot of times is that I used to walk from Mighty Fine Cuts to Urban League, which is not too far, but and I would see people doing windows, like big companies, they got the fucking Skyjack and all that, and I would take pictures of it, and then I would tell my students that a lot of times, because they would be like, yo, I ain't got no money, and I'm like, listen, I was just walking down Chippewa. You see this shit? This fucking business can be lucrative. How fucking how driven are you to really take it to the next, or figure it out?
Yeah.
Find something. A lot of people laughed at me the other day. I think Buddha and Ballista. I had a fucking trunk full of candy the other day, right? So I sell anything.
I heard you. I know. I heard you still going at it.
Oh, yeah?
He doesn't even need to. Just show
Drive
up.
Like
around,
like
fucking-
Snickers and stuff.
Snickers, all kind of shit.
You go to the Bills game. He's like, yeah, I was there selling shit. I'm like, no, did you go?
Yeah, I sell shit. But they were laughing at me. I popped my
Hustling.
trunk. They were like, one boy, he was like, one of my mans the other day, he was like, yo, what's up, Kenny? Yo, I'm sorry. He was so ashamed. He's like, yo, can I borrow $5 and shit? So I'm like, yo, Jungi, you know how hard I work, right? For me to, he was like, and I opened my trunk. I said, you see what the fuck I'm selling? I got fucking candy back here. He was like, candy? Really? So he was like, come on, really? I'm like, yo, this shit's better than crack.
Throw me $5 worth of candy then.
Yeah, man, fuck it, man. But yo, anything's a hustle, man. That's why I was like, man, I don't.
That's how hard you go. No,
That's how hard
absolutely,
you
that's a
go,
fact.
man. And anything, I tried to just find fucking value in anything. I'm out shopping. Oh shit, I can fucking. Oh, this shirt is $5. I could take it back to my store and sell it for $25. You know, shit like that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Absolutely.
Just want to be honest, man. Have an honest living now and give back. One of the biggest things right now is I love giving back, man. I love seeing people like step their game up, be the fucking best that they can be. Give it a second chance, Somebody believed in me, gave me a second chance. And
I feel like
it was
this whole
just off to the
city's getting
races.
a second chance right now. The whole place is booming.
Yeah.
Western New York is just.
Honestly, with this whole COVID and everything, it it really proved everybody's grind, to where they want to be in life.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people had the ability to, really focus themselves and get through all the frustration with everything that's going on, and center their brain to say, you know what, this is what I want. And no matter what, even if there's struggles and even if there's setbacks during that, these past couple of years, really proved a lot of people, and it's a shame that, a lot of people had to take a lot of learning lessons, too. But it's where
You know
we're
what
at
else
right
it
now.
did too, though? I feel like it showed people what they can do on their own. A lot of people lost their jobs and kind of had no choice but to be like, well, let me see what I can do.
I made a lot of money during COVID.
I made a lot of money.
Did you?
Yeah, I hit the streets door dashing, and I was like the only one. You know, I killed it.
I found out, you know, ABC Hardware?
Yeah.
All right, in Buffalo, they got fucking a bunch of hardware stores, ABC Hardware. But before that, when COVID hit, I used to buy, like, my boy, he works for, or worked for core distributors, like fucking hand sanitizers, toilet tissue, whatever, right? On a commercial level. And so I used to just buy shit from fucking cheap mop buckets, hand sanitizers, shit like that. So when COVID hit, and like hand sanitizers was like, I went to my basement. Literally, I had boxes of these pumped hand sanitizers. So I fucking Googled it. One of them just alone was like, I don't know, $12, right?
Oh yeah.
So my job was desperate for hand sanitizers, and fucking, I was selling one bottle, I think, for $40. That a case, like literally,
it was
and then
huge.
I didn't know that crazy.
and then I found out ABC Hardware. I was like, fuck, ABC Hardware had gloves and hand sanitizers. And so, but they had a limit of like how many you can buy. Called up, yo, I need you to come with, and we would fucking align out ABC Hardware, and then we would just buy all the hand sanitizers, all the gloves, masks and shit. And then my job was, you know, they were like, because we're a large organization and do a lot of community work, they wanted to, they was like, yo, you're our plug. So during COVID was like one of the best things that happened to us. So
I think
like,
we have
hustling.
to edit that out.
Nah, that's all right, man. My job, man. They was gracious. I mean, it was for the community, but you know, you just have to capitalize.
It's crazy,
on some
man.
of the things. I mean,
There was a lot of different shit
get
going
that
on with
money, or
COVID,
just
no
give
doubt.
me a couple dollars, but it was dope. So you know, it's just about. So the point in that whole story is that you just make something out of nothing.
No
There's
excuses.
always something there. You know what I mean?
There's always something there.
No doubt.
So, you know, there's always ways to make money and not have to risk your freedom and do stupid, fucking idiotic things. You know, and be sitting in the fucking, like, in the jail cell, like, yo, that shit. Yeah, that's corny as hell.
Yeah, no doubt. It's
When dudes
something
come
I
over,
learned.
yo, I was just in jail. I was.
Yeah.
Man, you was a clown.
That's not
like,
cool,
I don't, you know, a lot of people don't even know that unless I said it, or there's a time and place for it. You can share the story if it's relevant to whatever. I don't.
How it can
walk
benefit
around
that
and
person.
Like,
And
I don't walk around like, yo, I was just upstate. Listen,
Yeah.
dude, don't
It's
come
that same
home like
type
that.
of
'Cause I know a
dude.
lot of dudes that got.
It's that same type of
shit
dude
ended.
that's like, you know, my hands are registered weapons, right? It's like, man, like if I would have heard
That's not
someone
cool,
say
my
that,
guy.
if I would have heard someone say that about him, I would have been like, that's cool. But the fact that you said it, you know what I
Going to
mean?
jail
It
is
turns
not
it.
cool. Going to jail.
Yeah,
is
no,
not cool.
not at
I don't know
all.
who fucking
nah,
thought
the
that
real
was.
G's are the
Yeah.
one that stay on the street, and you know what I mean. They
niggas.
give back and they uplift, and
Right.
you know what I mean. Do the positive things that you know what I mean. Community needs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Well,
Those are the
ones
real
that
goats.
learn, the ones that fucking learn better once they do get locked up.
Yeah, so the goal of you know, life is like, obviously we all make mistakes, we all go through situations. What did you learn from that situation?
No doubt.
And for me, I just felt that I learned and I made it the best, and I kept my promise to my family. It was like, yo, I'm just gonna do something better. I'm gonna figure out something else to sell. I'm not gonna sell that. I'm gonna go out and sell a shoe. I'm gonna go out and sell some candy or whatever the fuck it is.
Right.
And make legal money and be, you know, at peace, and at the end of the day also, you know, help.
Nice.
You know, I love helping people, you know, if they want to help themselves though.
Yeah, of course.
But one of the reasons why I kind of quit my job is just because I was just tired. Not tired, but like it came a point in time where you got to take that leap. Like I didn't want to forever be in that business.
Right.
Of
Now that you got something else brewing,
yeah. I mean,
you know, might as well
everybody,
focus
you know,
on it.
It just, you know, you come to a point in time where you just like, yo, you recognize your value. It's like either you work here for this amount of time. Like I gave the industry, whatever you want to call it, 11 years, right? So I'm looking like, damn, what if I would have gave Mighty Fine 11 years?
Right.
As hard as I went and hard as I go. And I don't live with no regrets because it was amazing. I've helped thousands of people.
course.
Literally like thousands. Adults, young adults. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and I love it because I see people all the time. It's like, yo, good looking, yo, you helped me get this job. You helped me do this. You know what I mean? And I never was in it just for no like the kudos, and I was just that's who I was. And that's just like I just said. It's time for a change to try to get try to get more valuable, more money, more financials, shit like that.
Oh yeah.
So I love it.
So what's the next big plan for Mighty?
For Mighty.
Fine.
I don't know. I usually like
Another store?
I always thought
Yeah.
You need to put one in Amherst, maybe. See how they like it out there.
I have no idea, man. We're doing so much right now, man. We're moving, we're traveling. And I've never been like maybe I should get into that mindset of more of a long term. Because when I was young, I never thought that I would make it past a certain age. So I never like really planned a whole lot of shit.
Yeah.
I just like kind of go with the flow.
Yeah. I feel that.
Next is just continuing to just be, relevant, continue to help, continue to push the envelope. Ballista's doing a lot of shit. I'm just privileged to be in that circle, to do whatever, it is that, whatever my position that I can lend to that situation. The Mighty thing is going to continue. I don't know. It's like whatever the fuck fucking happens,
Yeah. So changing, especially nowadays, it seems like all the markets are ever changing.
I got so many ideas. I got Mighty Fine photos. I got Mighty Fine massages. Mighty Fine palettes. I'm the palette plug now.
Yeah, Mighty Fine Farms.
There's money in everything.
Mighty in everything, man. Don't steal my name. I'm telling you. I'm coming after you. I'm suing everybody.
Mighty Fine Farms.
Hey, listen.
Mighty Fine Farms.
Come on.
You mentioned a lot of
his own pack.
you mentioned a lot
one
of
already, right? I think he does. Have to get the new one.
What is it?
Bliss you got your own pack?
Ballistic Buds.
Are you still?
We had Ballistic Buds. We took it off the market for.
Okay, well, with Mighty Fine Farms, you can get the best buds for your pack.
Hey, that sounds really good.
We're at actually, we're gonna.
You
This
need to
conversation. No. Yeah. Actually, there's another bottle here. Let me get one more shot. But anyway, I'm glad you brought that up because now in collaboration with the Shack, Ballistic Buds would be whoa.
Yeah, come on.
Yo, y'all stealing my ideas, man. Nah. Damn. Nah, we had somebody that we were kind of doing business with tried to develop Ballistic Buds, and it was like, hey, whoa. You got to benefit from this shit too. So Ballistic Buds, you never seen the fucking logo?
I think
We'll
I
send
did.
it to you later.
I feel like I did. That's
all up in the way.
wasn't it? Yeah, that's why I asked because I thought I do remember seeing it, but
Yeah,
Nice.
High is Ballistic Man. So.
we'll have to make that work out somehow. It's easy, really. Just
Little
don't put no
collab.
bullshit in it.
Just a little collab.
Yeah.
Low collab. Yeah, definitely. Everything is about. You know what? In my day job,
Chess.
it's about collaboration. Everybody wanted to be like, I want to be this. It's about collaborate. If you're not collaborating to get the job done, then it's like what the
There's
fuck?
no
Like,
unity.
There's no fucking I in team. So it's got to be a team effort to take this.
That's one of this man's things right here. He loves to build, bro.
It's that easy, right?
Yeah,
Let's
so I
both
ran
got
the-
a goal. Let me tell me what your goal is. I'll tell you what my goal is.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to like around each other, let's both do both of our goals.
I ran the department. The
that
education department was about 7 of us, and it just always took a team because I wasn't a teacher. I just coordinated the fucking department. They were the teachers. They were the ones like teaching the kids, teaching them math, teaching them science, shit like that. But I always relied on my team. Like they were the core of everything.
Right.
So there's no I in team?
No. I mean, there's an I that you play in that team. Like, I play this position in this team, but you have to know your fucking position on the team.
That's huge, man.
Like,
As cliche
if I'm the
as
coach,
that is,
you can't be the coach too. Like,
Right.
I mean, you could be the
Right.
assistant coach, but you got to be the defensive coordinator. You got to, and I always made that analogy to kids that I interviewed to come into the program. It was it was like, what can you bring to my team? How can you help us win? I want to get to the Super Bowl every fucking year.
Yeah.
How can you help us win? And And a lot of, you know, young adults probably don't know how to answer that question. Maybe it was their first time in an interview. So, you know, just take your time. What can you bring? Like, what value? Like, and I give them some examples because I said I want to win all the time. Because a lot of them said they played sports. So I said, oh, so you know about sports? NBA, I mean, basketball, football. I want to win the chip every year. I want to win the fucking Lombardi every year.
Nonstop.
I want to win the fucking, what's the hockey joint?
The Stanley Cup.
The Stanley every year. What position can you play on my team, number one? Or what value can you bring? That's it. Help us win.
Yeah.
So the team is important, man. You know,
Trying to win the World Cup.
the World Cup.
But I mean,
A
yo,
couple days ago,
it
who
goes
won,
right
dude?
down. What he's talking about is it goes right down to the people that fills out with water bottles, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not joking about that. You know what I mean? Like I said,
It's the oil,
in
man.
order to be very successful, you know what I mean, you got to know your position in life. And I like to look at it as life's a game of chess. You know what I mean? Not everybody's a pawn. Not everybody's a rook. You know what I mean? Not everybody can do this and they do that. You know what I mean? It's each human is unique in their own abilities. You know.
Yeah.
That's what we all were created, you know what I mean? Back in our original time from the natives say, you know what I mean?
Right.
Each one teach one. I'm here to learn from you. You're here to learn from me.
Without a doubt.
You know what I was just talking about with my family because my wife, he's half native. What do you call it? The turtle. And, and I was just like looking it up the other day. It was like the turtle, when you talk about native, like I wanted to know exactly what the turtle resembled, and it's like slow and steady and resilient and all these other things. And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna start a GoFundMe. So and if anybody wants to help me, I want an iced out turtle.
Yeah.
Because literally, like it's like that
would look
resemblance. Yeah. Like, we're gonna talk to my guy here. I want him with the iced out joint, but yeah, like it's like slow and steady.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
not the prison, but I know our true believers in our heritage and our ways that have affiliations with the system would never, ever allow a turtle rattle, which is one of the most sacred rattles there is, to enter the prison because there's so much power that comes with it, you know what I mean? And a lot of the corruption that happens within there, that energy that comes with that turtle rattle would create so many chaotic things in there, and it's just trying to correct it because that's the power of the turtle rattle, you know what I mean?
I hear
So
that.
it's just, they won't even allow it in there to be sung, it has to be substituted and everything.
Yeah. No doubt.
We're coming to that point of the episode where, do a little recap and, I'm going to ask our very in-depth question we'd like to ask our guests, make it interesting. You mentioned a lot of things about, ambition, the willingness to grind, all these positive things, the ability to help.
Yes.
Over all these years that you have been living, what is one thing that you have learned and you can honestly say about yourself amongst all this? We're going to do a little inverted question towards yourself to do a little self-reflection of what you have learned about yourself of all these years.
That you can get the job done if you put the work in. And so I mentioned that nobody starts at the top. And so looking at 2009 when I was released until now, and so I look back a lot. So today I was renovating a house that I bought. I was privileged enough to buy from my mom before she passed, and I see all the progress, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't have a fucking dollar. Maybe no, I'm not gonna say $1. I think I had $235 when I got out. Maybe is that if you put work in, right, you will get results back.
No doubt.
So believe in yourself, right? Continue to work, put work in, and then you'll enjoy some of the fruits of your labor. And be a good dude. Number one, that's the best advice I can give anybody. Keep your fucking word, right? If you say something, do it. And respect everyone. And if you have those, like have some morals and some values, and then you'll get love anywhere you go. Because if your word isn't anything, it's not credible, then you're not credible. Like if I told you, I know I was a little late. I told you I'd be here at 3. I was here at fucking 3:05, right? Right. But I'm just saying, like, if you can't keep your word, you need to go to the fucking end of the world to explain why, for whatever reason. It's got to be valid. I've heard every excuse in the fucking world, but keep your word and respect everybody. The word is number one. That's what I stand on. Like, if you don't have your word, I'm sorry, my guy. Like, then you're just suspect. So
Yeah, no doubt.
and so just, to answer your question, hopefully I did answer it in some way, shape, or form. Is keep pushing, man. Like, we've been through a whole lot. You've been through a lot. You've been through a lot. Like, whatever your situation is, just know and believe in yourself. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Things can always be better, but they can always be worse. So I always look at both sides. Like, damn, I wish it was that, but it can always be worse. So as long as we're out here and breathing and having freedom, it's like, yo, man.
I want to hit deep.
I appreciate you guys for having me. We're gonna have him next on episode.
Everyone wants
I don't know. Because his story was crazy the other day. I was still like, still thinking about what he was saying.
What are some of the platforms people can follow you at and find you and maybe come get a haircut or maybe.
Damn. So I'm bad at platforms. I was just so Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, I hear him in the background. Man. So my manager back there, Ballistic Man, my social media guy.
Didn't he just convince you to quit your job?
No, he's a fucking he's on every fucking platform. So I need to figure out how to get, because I was always like, I don't know, but that's where the world is going, man. We just got to be relevant. So I'm at 257 Niagara Street. That's Mighty Fine Fashions. We got 235 Niagara Street, which is Mighty Fine Cuts. Make sure you go see my boy Sweet Sound at 257. It's so unique. I played the numbers. I still haven't seen it. But we play 257 all the time, and it comes out because we happen to have both addresses on two different streets.
Wow, that's crazy.
257 Grant, 257 Niagara. So...
Oh, yeah.
The
Social
team,
media
man.
is the
Social
Instagram is inc.mightyfine.
INC dot.
Yep, and also at Mighty Fine Fashions, all one word on that one.
So
it's under construction. Let me just put that out there.
I was gonna say, can you state something where people can also stay tuned? You know what I mean? Because I know Ballistic Man's gonna force that fire underneath you now that it was been asked on different occasions. So I know your platforms are gonna be taken out soon. So can they follow you on your results?
I'm working on. I got a young lady who's super talented. Who's gonna be. We're developing a Mighty Fine, like ballisticman.com. It's going to be a mightyfine.com in conjunction with. So, like I said, it's just going to be such a collaborative effort. It's going to be super, super crazy.
Yeah, well, you guys are doing great already.
And I really like that hat. I know you wear that with pride, man. That's a nice hat, bro.
Oh, it's yes, yeah, man.
The relationship you'll have is
man.
natural.
Everybody at in the BX, man, they treat us with so much love, man. Every time we go down there, it's like, BX, the Buffalo Love, man, when we showed up last year. So be on the lookout for that Ballistic Man, Fat Joe, and DJ Khaled song. I know people been on edge about it, but a lot of people don't understand the background and the things that we need to go. So it's there. We got it. It's in the tug. You heard it.
Yeah.
It's going to drop.
And it's about to be real crazy. 2023 is going to be it's gonna be whoa, and we appreciate the Shaq having us both back to back days.
No doubt.
Concerts, you know what I mean? Like,
it's not a favor; it's a privilege.
No, it's amazing just to be here and just to share the whole fucking thing. And so shout out to my guy K right here, man. Like, without us, I didn't really get to know him until like the last episode when we he was going crazy and shit. Like we was here for the concert, we went to the after party, but I really got to know him on a much more like personal level when he was breaking down the whole shit.
Same,
that I felt like a real true, like, yo, that nigga's a brainiac, like real dude, stands for his people, gives back, like, you know what I mean, and like invited us back to back. You know what I'm saying? So that's real dope.
That's all I've been hearing too. Actually, appreciate you, bro.
No, that's a real dude right there. And I'm a good judge of character. A lot of people was like, one thing about me, I know real from a fucking phony. Right. I don't know. It's like naturally instilled in me.
Oh, no.
I know when someone's a fucking fraud and when someone's real. It's a real guy.
No doubt.
Thanks for
Appreciate you,
having
man.
us. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. All right. Should we wrap it up then?
Yeah, like I said, thanks, Kenny. You know what I mean,
Thank
for
you, my
giving
guys.
your story, and like I says, we hope that, you know what I mean, somebody can grab something, you know what I mean, from his words, you know what I mean, through his struggles to where he's at successfully right now. How he's, you know what I mean, done a lot of things. You know what I mean, motivated speaking. You know what I mean, he's
I
on a
did.
very
I definitely did.
I want to
Lot
shout
times.
out everybody though. Dan,
Yeah.
Farmington, follow my guy.
Oh, yeah.
And Matey. He always, you know, the
Oh,
brains
yeah.
too behind the shit.
M80.
His
Don't let-
stage-
nobody
his
can
stage
ever
presence is
forget
crazy.
M80. M80 is just
I seen him directing up there.
Yeah.
Big Buddha, motherfucking Ballistic Man. Jimmy Scott Jr. is my guy too.
My wife High Pies in the
Cito.
back. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Everybody,
shout
the
out.
whole motherfucking
yes, high pies.
team.
Definitely, I
Nova.
cannot wait
If
to
you ain't
try
getting
it.
shot by
Oh,
Nova
high.
Vision, Nova want to come too.
Oh, he has his own sticker.
Nova,
Yeah, you showed me that last night.
Oh yeah.
fucking Nova, man.
Oh, actually, you know what else he's got on Instagram? If you can bring up those little stickers to make details to your shit, he's got one of those.
Nice.
I searched Buffalo and it was like the N and the V. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's
All
good,
right.
man. Thank
Well,
you.
like I
man.
said, thanks for
coming.
stopping out. You know what I mean? This is another banging episode. You know what I mean? Stay tuned. It's going to
Sure is.
drop every Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Hell yeah. Peace, y'all. Appreciate you.
know it. Holla.